Welcome back to another episode of In Real Life Adventures. My name's Dan,
And I'm Krista.
and we wanted to get on here tonight to wish you all a Happy New Year!
Thank you, everybody, for being here, and we hope that you had a safe New Year's Eve and that your 2026 has been amazing so far. Before we talk about any of our updates, we wanted to kind of go and give you a little bit of a recap of how our year went and how we got here, because you guys have seen little bits and pieces of the adventures we had.
The highlights.
The highlights. And so we figured we would give you a little context to this journey. So get ready.
Buckle up.
So January came and I ended up getting a remote working position, a remote job. So now both of us can work from anywhere. And that was definitely a big start to this whole process of having a job where we both could work wherever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, she ended up getting the new position. I've already been working remote for a few years now, so we decided, like, hey, this is the time for us to do it. We've been talking about it for years, so
Yep.
we ended up getting Starlink and got that set up, and we ran a little test run in the driveway, and we were rocking and rolling, so we were full steam ahead, ready to do this.
Yeah, January to April, we were doing a lot of planning. Like, we sold Dan's car and got the Kia, the little Kiwi Kia.
Got a tow dolly so that we could tow the Kia behind the RV.
And the whole internet setup. And then we also were figuring out how we were going to set up our offices in the RV, so we both had our own little workspace. I tried behind the driver's side at first, and it was just a little too cramped, so I actually liked the passenger seat better. And Dan sits right behind me because we both can't sit at the dinette. We talk too loud, and we would just be screaming at each other all day.
Yeah, we're both on the phones all day with our jobs, so we would be talking at each other all day if we were sitting across from each other. So it worked out really well. We actually ended up finding out that, we don't really want to take down and set up the dinette every single day to do it that way. So we made some changes and upgrades that we'll talk about later, to improve that.
So during this whole process of, getting the tow dolly, the towable car, all of that, we also were looking for a home base because we want to sell our house, but we still want to have a home base to go back to. So that way we have somewhere to just, relax or take it slow for a couple of weeks. We don't want to burn out in the travel, and we love traveling so much, so we wanted to have some form of something to, go back to if we just need a little bit of a break.
Mm-hmm.
I ended up finding a really cool place in Florida, and we were ready to do our trial run. So we were going to go see this place in Florida and do our work camping trial run at the same time. I actually booked the location that we were going to stay down there. I talked to the realtor and set up the day we were going to go look at the house itself. And then 4 days before we were supposed to leave, the house sold. But that's okay. That means the house that we are meant to have is still out there somewhere, and we'll find it. But I wasn't going to let that ruin everything, all of the plans that were being made. So I actually ended up booking a different location, and we were still going to do this work camping trip. So, we actually left June 6th and went to get started on our road trip. And that is where the real fun ensued, because we had never hooked up the tow dolly, hooked up, put the Kia on the back of the RV. Yeah,
it was an adventure. For our first trip out, we ended up loading up everything in the pouring down rain, and then when we got there, it was pouring down rain when we unloaded as well. So it was definitely a fun start to our RV, full-time RV working and living on the road kind of journey. And we ended up getting there, got all set up. The place was beautiful. It was a gorgeous campground called Paradise Lake Campground, and it was very, very peaceful, very calm. But our Starlink would not get a good enough connection. There was just too many trees, so we ended up having to, tell them that we're going to have to leave. We can't stay. Our Starlink's not working. And they were very understanding and tried to help us get another site. But we had, already gotten
I was too scared.
Yeah, we had gotten real nervous about it. So she found a new campground an hour away. And we just packed up and went over to that campground.
Yeah, when we got to this first campground, that was my first time ever towing a vehicle. So, I got to do it again 2 days later.
We got a lot of experience that week.
Yeah. Then we ended up going to Paradise Lake Family Campground. which was amazing. And that place was perfect. They also put us right near the bathhouse, which was amazing because we hadn't used our RV shower yet. So we actually learned quite a few things at this place. We also we ended up having a leak in one of our vents, and the water was dripping onto us as we were trying to go to sleep.
Right above our bed.
Yep, right above our bed as we were trying to go to sleep. So we found that out. And then what was it, the water pump?
Oh, the water pump ended up going bad, so it was allowing the city water hookup to fill our fresh water tank, and it was overflowing. So thankfully we found the valve and turned it off, and I was able to get that fixed when we got back home from that trip. But yeah, it was fun.
That campground was amazing, though, because we would work during the day, and then at night we would go swimming. We went to the pool. They had a lake there. The lake had a water slide. Both of us went
so
down
much
it.
Fun.
It was so fun. And we even got nibbled at by some of the bluegill that were in the lake. It got me in the butt.
Yeah, bit me in the nipple.
So those fish are fresh, but
fresh fish there.
But we had so much fun, and by the end of that week, we both were looking at each other like we could do this. Like,
yeah, it made it a reality. Like, this isn't as hard as we kind of made it up in our heads to be, and it went so smoothly that we were like, okay, we need to get back home and figure this out.
Yeah, we need more. So then we went home, and we were home for 2 days. And, while we were home, we actually did some upgrades. We upgraded our couch, did a little decor, and we cleaned that. The first time we've cleaned after a week of living in it, we realized how much dog hair can actually accumulate
collects
in the stairs.
There.
My gosh.
The stairs, the floors, everywhere. And I ended up going in and fixing the water pump while we were home for a few days so that we could get that back up and running because we had another trip right behind it.
Yeah, and then so after that, the 2 days we were here, one of those days was his birthday, and then the next day was my birthday. And that was when we were leaving to go to New Jersey. And we actually stopped at a Harvest Host farm, and they had so many animals there. I got to pet, a goat. I got to pet a donkey, a pig, a miniature horse, and I even gobbled with some turkeys.
It was a really, really cute little farm in New Jersey. They had nice little gravel spots for the RVers, full hookups there. And it was real peaceful, and it was right near everything right there in New Jersey. So great location, and they had a cute little farm store. We got some goodies. I got a hat.
I got eggs, and I got a handmade candle that smelled like s'mores.
It was perfect. Great Harvest Host. And then after we stayed there for only one night, then we left out of there and headed to Beachcombers in Cape May, New Jersey, and that RV park was absolutely gorgeous. Very, very large. They had a swimming beach. They had an arcade. They had two dog parks, a lake. And it's right around all of this stuff there, in that coastal area. We got to go to Wildwood.
Aunt and uncle there.
Yes, we were
spent time with family.
Yeah, we were actually camping there with my aunt and uncle that whole week there, and they took us all around. We got to go to Wildwood. We got to go to the Cape May Lighthouse and the beach. We got to see the ghost ship. And then we ended
went on
up
the boardwalk.
Yeah, the boardwalk.
Were even on the news.
Oh yeah, we got on TV actually when we were on the boardwalk there, and then we went to the Cape May Ferry, and we're sitting out there having some drinks, watching the ferries come in. So that was cool.
It was fun to go on that trip with them because we kind of got to live through some of their favorite places when they go, and that was made it even more.
See
special.
Some of their history of their past, and growing up there.
Yeah.
It was real cool.
So we were there for that whole week, and that week we actually took off. So that was one of our week vacations. Then we went home, and around the beginning of July, so July 4th weekend, we were itching to go out again. And that is when we ended up going to Brooklyn Heights Riverfront Campground. And the drive-in is scary because it is a one-lane road, and we saw reviews where people actually fell off the side because somebody was coming towards them. So I didn't tow the car that time. Dan actually scouted out in front of it just in case somebody was coming towards me, so that way, we could kind of like warn each other. But the place itself was amazing. That was where we went river tubing for the first time, floating, the river float. And we both kind of fell in love with that. They also had a swinging bridge there that we walked to from the campground. So
yeah, it was really cool, and it definitely sparked a little flame there for us on river floating. I ended up getting us our own tubes, so that way next time we went out, we would have our own ready to go.
Yep. And while we were there, Blackwater Falls is also in the area, so we went and saw that for the first time. That was really cool.
Gorgeous.
And then we went and saw Douglas Falls as well, which
Another gorgeous one.
we made a mistake by not wearing bathing suits because this waterfall, you can actually walk behind it. It actually goes down into a swimming hole. So missed opportunity, but we'll definitely have to go
We'll be
back
back
for that one.
Yeah, we'll come back and bring swimsuits this time.
Absolutely. And we're driving there. We're not walking the entire path.
Yeah.
So yeah, we ended up enjoying that so much, and we love West Virginia, and we just fall in love with it even more every time we go. So, that just fueled the fire for at the end of August, we were going to do another work camping trip. And we did. We ended up going to Wapakoma Campground in Romney, West Virginia, and when I booked this trip, I was like, I'm booking it purely because this is top tier river floating opportunity. Like, the river float was real and it was so perfect. The route that it ended up floating us was like a perfect circle all the way to where it would float us to our camper. We would take a path and then do it again.
Yeah, it was absolutely amazing. It was toward the end of July actually that we went, and we would just plant in down by the beach. We'd float all the way around the cove, and then where we would get out would be right alongside of our camper, so we could just walk right up if we were done and go back to our camper, or if we wanted to go for another loop again, we would just walk back down to the beach and float around. The cows would serenade us every single time, which was awesome. And then we ended up finding out that they had a Christmas in July there, and everyone decorated. They went really all out, so that was fun.
It was so fun. We weren't expecting that at all, and we were like, oh, look at all the Christmas lights.
But that was definitely another, we knew that we can do this.
This is what we needed. We knew we could do it before, but we knew at this point we needed this.
Yeah, we were like, this is what we want our life to be.
We got off work and then would walk the dogs, and then we would go float for multiple hours until, you get hungry and you got to come in for dinner, and it was a wonderful way to end a work day, honestly.
It really was. We were in that river every single day, and
as long as we could be.
We enjoyed every single moment of it.
We watched the sunset every night.
Yep.
Every night. And then after that, we came home, and at the end of August is when our next trip was.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
This one is really at the end of August. We decided to do a Harvest Host weekend, and we went to 2 different places. We just stayed one night in each place. The first place we went to was the little, I have notes here, by the way, little goat farm at the lake. I always mess it up, so I just didn't want to. That place was so amazing. More people need to visit. We got to love on baby goats, and they chased after me. I got to feed them at the end of the night, and then
I got to meet my little friend Cupcake the donkey, which was it was an adorable donkey.
Yeah, that's where I think he actually fell in love with donkeys that day.
I definitely did.
And Cupcake is actually the goat's babysitter as well, I found out. So
little goat caretaker.
What a good babysitter. So we went to that first, and then we ended up going to Henway Cidery and the Great Country Farms. Mm-hmm. So that place is giving me cider and sunflowers.
Yep. They had 8-foot tall sunflowers. It was insane.
I had never been to a sunflower patch before either, so I was absorbing it even more, and I think I got a little spoiled because of how tall they were.
Yeah, I'd never seen any that big.
So, and then after exploring the sunflower patch, that's when we went back and had cider that evening.
Yeah, it was nice.
It was a wonderful weekend. And then our next trip was in October. We planned to go down to South Carolina to visit his family.
Yeah, we ended up going to Clover, South Carolina, and we stayed at a Hip Camp farm, and it was full hookups, one site only. There was little cows that would come and greet you, very private. The host was outstanding, and we had an incredible work week there.
Yeah.
It didn't even feel like a work week, honestly, because it was so cozy and relaxing, and they even had a little fire pit set up outside there with benches for you. They had trash there that they would take, during the week for you and empty.
An actual can for you to be able to put your trash.
Yeah. I mean, it was an excellent week.
It was called Cedar Grove Farm.
Yeah, Cedar Grove Farm.
Cedar Grove. The whole place was amazing, and we got to spend time with family. pretty much every day after work, and his mom actually ended up making a Thanksgiving dinner feast for everybody because the whole family was able to come up and spend the weekend together, and she wanted to have the holidays since we weren't going to be together.
Huge Thanksgiving feast.
Yeah, we all had a lot of fun, and we were very full by the end of it.
Yeah, it was great. It was a great visit.
And so we work camped there the entire week, and then after that we used another one of our week vacations, and we explored on the way back up from South Carolina to Virginia. And so he had no idea about any of the plans that were going to be happening, but he was along for the ride, so I really appreciate that about him. The first place we ended up going was Gibson Mill, and the reason I picked this place is because he is a car guy, and it had a huge antique car, like, museum kind of thing, and we ended up getting there too late.
Like 40 minutes late before they, after they closed, that we weren't able to see it.
But that's okay. It's fine. I mean, that was the main reason I booked it, but it's fine. So we ended up going to, where the food was, and we ate dinner together. And then we actually enjoyed the antique mall.
Yeah, the depot is huge.
It is huge. It has its own map of this entire place because it is so large.
We went there 2 days, and we still didn't feel like we had enough time.
No, I gotta touch everything though too. I take longer. So.
Yeah, it's got a lot of stuff, and it's not like a normal flea market it's got everything you could think of there.
Yeah, it really
very
did.
cool.
So cool. And then the next morning we woke up and we ended up having coffee at a coffee shop that was across the street. It was called Maddie Ruth's Coffee House.
So good.
The vibes and the coffee, perfect, top tier, because you didn't feel rushed. You could just sit there and enjoy the morning and slowly.
It was a very
wake up
antique setup vibe in there. It was very, very cool.
Very laid back. I loved it.
Mm-hmm.
And then from there we ended up going to Morgan Ridge.
Yeah. No, we headed out to another Harvest Host the next day, Morgan Ridge Vineyards, and that place was amazing. It was beautiful. The owner actually ended up coming out and chatting with us for a little bit and told us his story on how he had bought the winery and had turned the house on the back of the property into an Airbnb, and how he's actually the chef there, and his cooking was
spectacular.
Delish.
Those truffle fries. Oh
yeah,
my
the
gosh.
wine was amazing. You could actually go and walk through the vineyards. We actually went up to the Airbnb because he said we could check it out to see it.
He said, I asked if I could explore the grounds, and he said, oh yeah, sure. Because they also do weddings there, so they had a whole wedding venue area, a barn where the bridal parties can get ready and stuff. So when he said we could explore, I explored. We went all the way around the lake. We did a photo shoot inside the venue, inside outside of the barn. So it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, that place was nice.
It was. And the fact that the chef ended up giving us, or the owner ended up giving us a free dessert right at the end of the night.
It was delicious, yeah.
It was unexpected, and it made me almost cry because, such a small gesture can mean so much.
It was very sweet.
Yeah.
Very sweet.
And then after that, we ended up going to Crosswinds Campground. And we ended up staying a couple of days at this place. So that way it would bide some time before we went to the next one.
Give us a little breather, a little break.
Yeah, and they had the most spectacular sunsets there.
They were absolutely gorgeous.
Bright orange, all the nights. We were like, this is so beautiful.
Yeah, it was, the sunsets were gorgeous. The place was very quiet and peaceful. It was very well kept. So it was a nice campground.
He's pretty sure he lost his flashlight there. So if you're watching and it's blue, let us know.
Yeah, it's probably still there.
It's probably
pretty
still
sure
there.
I left it on the picnic table.
And while we were also there, we ended up going into the town of Lexington, which wasn't too far, and explored Lexington as well.
It was such a cute little old town, and
It was.
we ended up getting to meet one of the locals there that ran the souvenir shop, and she chatted with us, very nice lady, and explained that they've got these little pig statues that they put all around town that are dressed up in
town.
different attire. So
Yeah.
we totally got a picture taken with the pigs, and she was nice enough to take it for us.
Pictures with the pigs.
Mm-hmm.
And then before we left the campground, because we were going to be boondocking the rest of the time, we filled up our water, and they had a propane fill up there.
Which was awesome.
Which was, perfect. We got to top it off before we left. And that's when we were heading to Old Salem Museum.
Mm-hmm.
The reason we had to wait a couple of days is because Old Salem Museum didn't have any reservations until Wednesday, and we had to go because there was a ghost tour there.
She was dying to go to a ghost tour.
Dying to go to a ghost tour. And it's a very old town, so we got to absorb histories. But when we first got there, we parked. We ended up going and getting food from east of Texas. Their portion sizes are huge. Just so you know, the nacho plate was like this big, and I looked at him and I was like, we should have just split
it. Yeah, we should have split it because it was huge, but it was delicious.
It was delicious. I'll give it to him.
And we enjoyed coming back after we had some food, exploring the old historic, Winston-Salem and Old Salem.
Mm-hmm.
And it was really cool to get to go in the old buildings and see some of the museums they had set up there.
Yeah.
And they also even had a really cool covered wooden bridge that you could cross over to get into Old Salem. And we definitely took some photos there at the daytime and at night as well, because it was awesome. It was
really pretty. Apparently, it's a hot spot for senior portraits, too.
I can see why.
It was cool to be able to see the town during the day and then go back for the ghost tour, because that's where you walk around for the ghost tour, too. And we even... The guide actually gave us some tips on being able to go and explore a little bit more and things that happened in those areas, like a cemetery. So we definitely explored that cemetery after the tour was over.
Oh yeah, we did the cemetery walk. Didn't see any ghosts.
Didn't see anything.
It was still fun.
It was still a lot of fun. And then from Old Salem, we ended up going to River's Edge Trail
Campground.
Okay.
And that was probably, I would say, that was the coolest actual campground positioned spot that we went to on the trip, because it should have been called Cliff's Edge Campground, because you back up right up to a cliff's edge and then overlook the valley with the rivers and meadows and then the mountains way in the background. It was just epically beautiful.
It was. Let's talk about the ride there, shall we? It was very windy, which is the windiest we've driven in with the RV. Google Maps is not always your friend, because I was paying attention to the map and I took the road I thought I was supposed to take, and I went four-wheeling in the RV into somebody else's driveway. And this must happen pretty often, because apparently there's a sign I completely missed that says this is not the campground. And I understand why she would be upset, because of how ridiculous her driveway was. Sorry again. I'm sorry.
But yeah, we definitely missed the sign. Definitely had to make a U-turn and get back out of there. But once we made it to the actual campground, and
then I messed up again.
We got set up, and it was super windy, like the highest winds we've ever been in, and we're getting ready to relax, kick our shoes off and everything, and then find out that we set up in the wrong campsite.
It was me. I pulled into the wrong one.
We had to move one spot over, and we got set up in this next spot over, and it actually ended up working out, because there was a hill beside us that did block some of that high wind, so we weren't swaying all night getting seasick in the RV, so it worked out, but definitely was a fun moment.
But that place ended up having the most amazing views and the best stargazing. We saw so many stars, and there was no light pollution or anything, so that made it even better.
It was gorgeous.
And then from there, we ended up going to Shenandoah Caverns.
Yeah.
And we ended up doing a tour of the caverns, which was really cool. And it was actually pretty far down in there, honestly.
Yeah, they definitely bring you in a little bit further than some of the other caverns we've been to, and the guide was great. I mean, he was giving us a lot of history and information, about the cave and how they've been exploring it further recently.
And it's one of the only caves that actually has an elevator you can take to go down into it.
Yeah.
Instead of doing the million stairs, we still did
stairs. What else was there, though, that you were really excited about?
So then, after we did the tour, we ended up going to the haunted house that was right next door to it. That was so cool.
It was a lot of fun.
Apparently, it's like a museum for old parade floats, and they decorate it and deck it out for Halloween time and make it a haunted house. They did
So cool.
a great job.
Yeah.
Just so you know, don't record it because you're not supposed to, and you're not allowed to share it either.
So we can't share any of that with you.
Sorry.
We didn't know.
I
So.
wasn't supposed to.
But after we got done doing the haunted house, we then took the dogs for a nice walk and everything, and then we decided to go ride around on the e-scooters for a little while in the parking lot and have some fun. So we
Be
scooted
little kids
around.
in the parking lot. It's fine.
But it's a beautiful, beautiful place to stay. Like, it was very peaceful. It was a nice visit there, and we enjoyed getting to explore the cave and doing the haunted house.
Yeah. And so that was our summer and fall. We learned a lot along the way. We learned how to tow a dolly. We learned how to set up the whole
How to work in the
campsite,
RV.
how to work it. We learned how, like, a routine of how to, like, live in the RV. We learned different upgrades we want to do for the future. So those are some things that we'll still work on. And then now comes the difficult part. After the whole house didn't work out for Florida, I honestly stopped packing. I gave up on it a little bit. And then we traveled. Because Dan was like, why don't we just pack in the wintertime? Because you're not really doing anything.
Don't waste
then.
the travel season
Yeah.
when we can have fun. We'll do it when it's cold and we don't want to do anything else, and we can pack the house then. So that's basically going to be our 3-month plan now, is to just hammer away at packing the house up, getting things fixed and cleaned and ready for sale. Yeah, donating and getting rid of stuff.
Getting rid of stuff.
So that's kind of our game plan for 2026, is we want to get the house cleaned out, get the house ready for sale on the market, and then get it sold so we can get on the road full time. And we'll look for our home base while we're living and working on the road. We don't need to immediately settle down into something. We don't want to make a rush decision. So we're gonna enjoy the road life and look at the same time. So that's kind of gonna be what you guys are gonna be seeing. You're gonna be seeing a lot of day-to-day life of us starting to get all of our things packed away.
Chaos packing.
Yeah, the chaos of this journey. So we're gonna be working toward that goal over the next few months here.
And since we are looking for a home base, we are looking around like southern North Carolina or northern South Carolina. So if you have any suggestions, please put it in the comments. We'd love to hear, because we've been to different places around there, but North Carolina's so big too. So
yeah, definitely any suggestions you guys may have. Some of the updates that we have for you on the channel is one thing that we've realized tonight during recording of this video is we were going to try and do all of our videos in 4K. Well, apparently there's not enough storage and our phones can't handle that, so we're going to be limiting it to Ultra HD or Full HD, not 4K video for you guys on these long, talking videos, just because we don't have enough memory and the phone overheats. So sorry for that, but you can expect some better video quality on our adventures and shorter clips and things like that as we progress forward. But you may have noticed that the audio is a whole lot better on this video than some of our others in the past, and that's thanks to Krista for my Christmas present, some new microphones for our channel. So you guys will have crisp audio. We're going to try and get the best video quality possible that we can for you guys. We've done some upgrades to the RV. You guys have seen the lagoon table. That's going to be a new change in my work setup. There's going to be more things that you guys are going to see over the next few months that we're going to be doing, tweaks and things here. But we really want to let you guys know we're going to be working to do weekly updates for you guys, more in the daily life and in the trenches per se of this transition, so you guys can see the real, not the fake stuff, but the real stuff. And our goals for this year is we would like to get to 500 subscribers. We think that's an honest goal and we can do it. We'd love to get monetized this year so that we can start, selling some products for you guys, some merch, stickers, hoodies, coffee mugs. But we need to get to that 500 subscriber goal and get that view count up so that we can get there and start, getting you guys some merch and, sharing more with our community. So we want to thank you guys for all the support you've given us and for watching our videos. Please make sure, if you're not already, to subscribe. Hit
Yeah.
that notification bell so you don't miss any of our alerts for our new videos. Share them with a friend. Hit that like button, comment on them. Let us know, your thoughts, or just say hi. We love to, get feedback from you guys, and we're excited to see where this journey takes us.
Yeah, and maybe we might even do some lives in the future.
Yeah, we may
You
throw
never know.
a couple of lives in the mix there from time to time, just so
Yeah.
you guys can have a more personal connection with us.
Sometimes it's nice to just be able to kind of like chat with the person that you're watching. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because it feels like a friend.
It
You're
really
just
does. You
talking
build
to a friend
you
right
build a
now.
friendship.
Yeah.
For
Yeah.
sure. So, well, thanks for joining us on another episode, guys. We really appreciate it, and
We hope you enjoyed the recap.
yeah,
and,
we hope,
our crazy journey so far.
yeah, and like, comment, share, subscribe, all those things, and we'll see you guys on the next one.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.